So we got a pause here. Before I start, everyone thinks I'm a horrible person. I have two favorite GT songs. It's Christmas and You Don't Want Me Here is a fucking classic. I swear to God, if it was more widespread, that would be a goddamn Christmas hit. Who else on Christmas has just fucking hated the day? Listen to that song, makes it more tolerable. And Merle, Friday song, classic. I play it on Fridays. That and You Took the Words Right Out of My Mouth. Two classic Friday songs. That's probably the last nice things I'll say about you, though.
Thank you all for coming out to the first annual and probably only ever birthday roast of Greg Troyan. Those of you who've been to Greg's birthday before may be a little confused as to why there aren't 6 of his own bands playing tonight. Those of you who've not been to Greg's birthday before might be confused as to why I would say such a thing. What kind of self-indulgent, awful monster would host 6 of his own bands for his birthday? The worst part is, he stole that idea from me. That's my idea. My 6 bands playing, Greg. Anyway. So the reason we're doing the roast tonight instead of the usual music thing, because, long story, about 6 months ago when Greg started planning this event, because Nashville is a nightmare hellscape that chews up the dreams of young musicians and spits them on the ground, and that's how long you have to book a venue. So 6 months ago he was looking around at venues and said, wait, I don't actually have a band, let alone 6. I don't have any lineups. And rather than risk booking a show and then not having a lineup and having to cancel his own birthday, he decided to do this instead. 6 friends, 6 bands. Close enough. Split the difference.
Friends is a strong word.
It's true.
Friends is awfully generous.
So yeah, rather than having a bunch of his bands play, he's going to have a bunch of his so-called friends get up here and roast him, say a bunch of mean things about him, which, considering how much Greg places his own, how much of Greg's own sense of self-worth and value comes from other people's opinions of him, this is a really, really just such a good idea. But, when he asked me if we wanted to do this, I decided this is simpler and cheaper than actually shopping for a gift. So, yeah, sure, might as well. I have never done a moment of stand-up in my life, so of course, when he asked me to MC that, I thought, yeah, this is a terrible idea, why would you have me do this? I don't know how to be funny on stage. All I know is, all of your most intimate personal details and everything that you've done in the last 8 years, and... Oh, okay, yeah, all right, that makes sense. So I first met Greg about 8 years ago in 2012 at the Cafe Coco open mic when both of those things were still good.
We ate breakfast there today.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
We just got in 2 hours ago.
You ate breakfast, you ate breakfast there today 2 hours ago? Okay, checks out.
30 minutes. We've been at this party since 30 minutes ago.
So I went to the Cafe Coco open mic, and this long-haired douche bro-looking dude got up on stage and started doing this overwrought dramatic song about his penis and time travel or something, and also Greg was there. Afterwards, Greg, ever the extrovert, came up to me and said, hey, we're best friends now, and I, ever the introvert, said, sure, and then a couple months later he moved into my apartment. Somewhat prior to that, he called me one day and said, hey Steve, my bassist isn't available. I need a fill-in bassist for just a couple of lipstick shows. And I, ever the sucker, said, yeah, sure, I could totally do that. That seems like a good idea. Now, 8 years later and 3 or 4 or 8 lineups later, I am still in his band. Although I might be guitarist now rather than bassist. We'll see how that pans out. But when I first joined the band, when I first joined Lipstick, Greg told me, I started this music thing at 20, and by the time I turned 30, if I haven't made it, I'm going to retire from music. I'm going to stop doing music, and I'm going to become a writer. This, like most of the things Greg says, was a lie. He's not actually retiring. He's just going to play a little bit less music, just like he'd already been doing. So...
When did the music start?
When does the music start tonight? There's no music.
When did it start in his life?
Oh, I guess when he was 20. That was the first time he heard music.
Yeah.
But anyway, so when Greg told me this plan to retire at 30, I said, okay, well, if you're going to retire and become a writer, then on your 30th birthday, I'll buy you your first bottle of writer's whiskey. This was also kind of a lie because I have no idea what writer's whiskey actually means, so hopefully Jameson is close enough. So, when I first met you, you were young and optimistic and a really positive influence on my life. I feel like we created some great art together, and now you're old and jaded and grumpy and a writer. And, just like all old jaded men, when your feelings get hurt, as they are bound to be, as all of your so-called friends get up and say terrible things about you for the rest of the night, you take those bad feelings, Greg, and you bundle them up, and you tamp them deep in your soul, and you drown them in liquor. So you're all ready to go, ready to embark on this next adventure of life. Thank you, Greg. You're 1 year closer to death. What a chump. And whoever's next up is next up. Just come, take the piss out of Greg.
Lisa.
I didn't prepare anything. I wasn't going to roast something.
So I guess you're going
You think
up?
I prepared something?
I was just going to watch.
We'll let you flounder.
Somebody's got a bomb, right?
I'll do that.
I guess I'll just say that Greg was my homecoming date, my freshman year of high school.
Woo!
And
Sexy.
I didn't go to a single school dance after that.
You knew your bed never
Oh, I'm still MC, aren't I?
Yeah, you need to introduce her too.
Yeah.
Dang.
I don't know anyone's names.
Fucking
I wasn't
rude.
going to get a roast. I wasn't gonna...
That was Elisa.
That was Elisa. And it's
You usually say their name, a few things you know about.
right, and
them.
it's Matt, right? And Cleveland Stever and
Yeah.
Greg
Yes, Greg.
and Jason Julia. Okay, so who's next then?
Where are you going?
Okay, so that was Elisa. Greg, you're in charge of editing, so next we'll welcome up Elisa.
Fuck!
And then who's actually next?
How about Debo?
Oh. I don't want to.
Alright, how about Steve?
Do you guys have anything to say?
I might think of something.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, they need some time to stop. Do you want
I'll do it. I'll
you
do
like
it.
a
But
piece of paper or anything?
Let's see the
no,
list.
no.
Okay.
Yeah, Lisa, you got anything else to say?
That was it.
All right.
That about
Next up
sums
is
Greg.
Cleveland Stever. Because we're in my home turf, I get to pick the nickname for the other secondary Steves.
Okay, okay. This is the part of the podcast you probably want to go do something else.
You don't need to be too close to the mic.
Okay, alright, I won't.
Stand natural and it'll pick you up.
Alrighty. Whew. Man, I'm so glad I could bring half the party here tonight. It feels really good to recruit more people for another mediocre night with Greg Troyan. Holy shit, so I should be a little more gracious. Nashville, what's going on? There you go, we got some Nashville people in the house. Can you believe this shit? I'm loving it down here up in Cleveland. Fucking, can you believe this? I'm pissed. $10 for a blowjob. $10 for a blowjob up in Cleveland. I'm coming down here. I'm paying $8.73 for a blowjob. But that's all Greg was charging. So
That student discount. What a Trump.
I pull out my card. Greg does his job, and at the very end, he's like, "Here's your 137 cents, sir." Mouth full of good stuff.
That's
Remember
okay.
sales tax, Greg? You got a 9% there.
Ah, shit.
I had no
You're gonna have
sales.
to eat that cost.
Yeah, he swallowed. Just for anyone. Greg will be in the bathroom all night. If you need that, just make sure you've got $10. I even have a note here to act like I wipe cum off my chin. Oh, this is gonna get bad real quick because now I'm gonna start talking about the Troyan family. And the Troyan family, they truly hold a special place in my heart. They're the only family when I look at them, I can't tell if I'm looking at the front or the back. I'm just looking at these people, and they just kind of move in a disambiguous way. I remember this one time in drama club. I'm sure Greg's gonna remember this time too. I see this girl's butt. I'm like, Greg, look at that girl's ass. Greg looks and he's like licking his lips. He's like, I go, hey, Rachel. That's his sister. For anyone who doesn't know the context. And she turns around and she's like, what? And Greg just goes, and yeah, be careful, Rachel. If
if you're listening to this. Oh gosh, we're gonna go dark here for a second. I'm sorry, I don't know you guys. It's gonna go nasty. Even Elisa was like, "Don't say these jokes." But if I just get them, here's the thing: is if I just open the door to these things, Matt might have a better time when he comes up here.
Are they birdie jokes?
They're what jokes?
Birdie jokes?
I wish they were that nice. Oh gosh. And another thing, it's a little racy, but you know, I haven't heard it myself, but I have heard Greg Troyan mention the R word a few times. And I'm not talking about the one with like the special people. I'm talking about your face is, I'm gonna break some hearts. I'm talking about rape, a very serious issue. And you know, I hear the word thrown out there and I'm like, how the hell is Greg going to talk about rape? Every time a new lipstick CD comes out, he's raping all of us. I'm sorry, very serious. And you know, the thing is, like, even after he says that kind of stuff, and it's a little hypocritical, I could really get behind Greg Troyan. The enthusiasm, the happiness, I could really get, you know, behind the idea of Greg Troyan, not the guy himself, unfortunately. You know, and we're going to skip that one because I want to get down. I want to get out of here.
Don't we all? I live here and I want to leave.
Good. That sounds about right for a GT party. Anyways, so the first time I met Greg, I was like, son of a bitch. I've met this guy before. I'm looking at him, right? And I'm like, kind of short, probably wearing a wig, and his family will abandon him at any turn. This guy is literally the rock and roll version of E.T. and just like E.T., all stories have their great price. You know, Matt Damon got left on Mars. You know, Peter Parker got bit by a spider. Greg Troyan, he's got a little dick. You know, that's where it all stems from. That shit. You know, life is hard, everyone, right? Life is kind of hard. So every time I, you know, feel bad about myself, think about Greg Troyan. I suddenly don't feel that bad. I really don't. I can do today. You know, Greg Troyan, he's so cheap, he's free. Someone, please adopt him. Please take him. Please. You've got room downstairs. I've seen it. You've got room for him. You know, and just like the last joke, this one's a little bit of a copy. You know, every culture has their icons. You know, great, magnificent things that really inspire people. You know, America has George Washington. India has Gandhi. Greg, he's got herpes.
True story.
I was there.
You know,
I was not there.
so that's how it happens. Now we know. Ooh.
Now we know who was there.
I'm gonna go wash my hands. So, you know, Nashville is a great place. You know, Greg gives blowjobs under the highway bridges. You know, it's really nice. But when Greg Troyan came to Nashville, as many musicians have, it was the only time Nashville said, "Thanks, guy, but no thanks." We're good. We're good. You know, all right. You guys want to go back? Wait, hold on. I'm gonna cue you. You got the. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Because now they're like kind of like one-liners after this. You know, Greg Troyan worries about a lot. You know, but the one thing he never has to worry about is class. He ain't got none. Now to close out, I was gonna say nice things about Greg, but. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say something and I'm gonna go out like this, and you hit that noise and everyone else just says GT, all right? So here's how, just give you an example. I'm trying to think of a good one. Has a really small dick.
GT.
There we go. Okay, you guys got it. Okay, here we go. King of the roadies.
GT.
And by the way, Greg, it's nice to meet you. Some ideas I wrote to make jokes about. All the dudes that were at his wedding. Being a karate kid, having a car accident.
Left turn.
This one time I was at a sleepover as a child, and there was like this kind of weird whimpering sound, and it was like, this place is haunted. It's actually just Greg crying in a closet. Happy birthday, Greg. Thank you for inviting me down. Go fuck yourself.
All right, thank you, Cleveland Stever. Devo, are you up?
As the only other friend.
I need
a drink first.
As the only other friend who's prepped. You've got a drink right there.
Yeah, but I need a drink that's not going to make me cough.
Can I get into your room?
Yes, help yourself.
Greg Troyan will be in the bathroom all night. Thank you very much.
You should probably drive home.
Jason's taking one for the team. He's driving up.
You're like, dang it, the only substance I like to abuse is controlled, and they can't do a road test for it, so like they can't actually check me.
I might grab some chips.
Alright, Jace, take some mushrooms and then be inspired.
Yeah, I was, I wish I had some mushrooms.
That'd be a way to celebrate 30.
Right? Maybe that's the trick. I keep on being like, Greg, break edge, drink booze.
No, it's either like,
You're like, you need to go full Hunter S. Thompson.
yeah, it's gotta go full on psychedelic journey.
Yeah. And then you'll like some of the music I listen to.
I'll probably still think it's
Preferably
shitty,
don't
but
touch
I will like,
Sorry.
It'll make a lot
I
of
see
noise.
the lizard people with my mind, man.
Wait, what type of music are you into?
Like psychedelic rock.
Yeah, we're on
Yeah.
a psychedelic band.
You are?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I play bass when Steve's not available for the psychedelic.
Greg
band.
plays bass, I play bass, Julie is a bassist.
You're all
I never used
bassists?
to do that anymore because I drum in everybody's
I'm a
bands.
keyboardist. technically.
Look, bassists all show up for things because we're reliable.
Right?
You say we as if you know, like,
We
how to
show up.
play bass.
Off to a good start. Look, I know how tonics work.
I also play bass.
And fifths, you know how those work?
Yeah, I don't use them, but I know how they work.
Don't strain him, Jace.
I played bass in it in 6th grade.
So yeah,
Heck
you're
yes.
good enough at it. Join the band.
And
all you need.
Cleveland Stever, he can't play an instrument, so he's a bassist.
This Steve Nash is a good bassist. I've seen him play. He even does it without a G string.
It's true.
You guys use G strings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Every day. All right. We'll just
It
keep
just
it how
makes you feel confident, you know?
we'll just keep it how it is today with all those layers on in between.
Did it start?
Thank you, Elisa. Not so I like made a few like notes, and then like Steve and I were gonna talk through our jokes. And Nashville is so much better to like not focus on Greg. We've had a great time. The last like 30 minutes we've been here. I've known Greg since he's in ninth grade. We were in the same Spanish class together. And I knew him as the kid with the yellow security blanket winter coat that he'd wear in like, I don't know, what is the warmest season in school?
In Cleveland? Brisk.
No, but he would like get sent to like the principal's office for not taking off this winter coat because they're so worried about him selling drugs out of it. He's trying his best to explain it's for security reasons and how unstable he is. And they're like, dude, stop selling weed. Little did they know how straight edge he is. So Steve just did a stand-up and you said you needed a drink. Did you come back with like grape juice?
Yeah.
Root beer?
Yeah, root beer.
It's purple.
It's brown. How drunk are you?
Oh my goodness, it is brown.
Put some whiskey in it, Greg.
I'm driving.
You finally upgraded to a carbonated beverage.
Yeah, going hard on my birthday.
We brought our own booze because I thought you would host a party how you usually do, take care of us non-straight edge people by getting us some unlimited lemon water. I know that's what you frequent at bars. So you take care of the rest of us by doing the same. All right. No, actually look at my notes here. Do you want to go as Steve Nash tonight?
Sure.
All right, Steve Nash. There's a lot of Steves in Greg's life, and we have to separate them somehow.
The other Steve from Nashville, who was at the party earlier, isn't here right now.
I don't know if he exists.
This hypothetical Steve Edwards.
We're gonna just keep you at the assumed 6 proven friends that are here. I don't know about that, Steve. Anyways, thank you, Steve, for hosting this event. I should say Steve Nash. I guess I've known about you. I haven't known you that long, but I've known about you for 8 years. Right? As long as you've been friends with Greg.
Yeah.
I knew you as the guy on all of Greg's Facebook posts. You two looked inseparable. I knew you as the somehow bald but also rat-taily guy who looked like he belonged on Miss Frizzle's adventures. You all laugh, but he has great style. This is the first time, actually, you are not showing off those shiny ankles of yours.
Yep.
But that just means times are changing. Lipstick has changed their look dramatically. Greg used to be, for about 15 years, the technicolored Naruto
Joker jacket. Joker blazer.
No, oh yeah, he did have several looks. But I always thought of it more as like Beetlejuice grandma. But, and how long did it take you to do your hair?
10, 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, he's a pro, man. All the girls so envious of that hair. But everyone's changed their look. I really think for the better. I like the leather. Steve, now I would put you more at like Toadie and Christmas Story. Always in that 9 to 10 range. PBS represent. I was gonna shit on Nashville as a city, but I don't feel like there's enough Nashville people here.
I mean, we'd probably agree with whatever you said.
The trick is no one's actually from Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually like Murfreesboro, Laverne.
I'm the one who lives closest to the center of Nashville, and I'm the Canadian.
Yeah, I mean, the sad thing is you guys hate Nashville. You don't realize, like, how good you have it. You are right. You are all transplants, which is crazy. Like, I love talking to people here because everyone has a great, like, backstory, like, real-life lore. and, you know, in Cleveland, where Greg's originally from, it's, like, a little different. All of us who are still there, we have like an excuse, right? It's like an excuse for still being there and not leaving. And you all have good stories of why you left and why you're here, but now you're just like haters because the reason you moved isn't necessarily panning out how you thought. How's that call center job going, Greg?
I'm out of the call center.
Really? What do you do now?
I've been out of it for like a couple years at this point.
Oh,
Oh man,
He's
we
one
should
step above the call center. He emails customers.
we
now.
should catch up sometime. Where you email?
I do insurance verification.
hey.
Is your email still Greg Troyan for president?
No.
Oh man. Hopes and dreams, people. We were at Hermitage today.
You guys were at the Hermitage?
The
Like
Ohio
pissing on-
State. No.
Pissing on the grave of Andrew Jackson?
Oh yeah.
You guys all hate him?
I mean, what else do you do there?
I found it to be
Genocidal maniac. Why would you like him?
I found it to be
We're from
historically enriching.
Oh, that's fair.
I poured one out for the
I was gonna
sleeve.
say, Matt spit multiple times on the ground when we were there. So if anyone's safe from criticism, it's him.
Well, that's because Steve wanted us to drink before we went in.
in the parking lot, and then got afraid that the cop would pull us over. In the,
Not pull us over, like,
in the unmoving car.
I encourage this. I like this to be more of a discussion.
Edit this part out, right?
You
Everybody
rude
hates Greg.
pieces of shit. So you've been in Nashville for 8 years, right?
I think
9?
Since 2012.
It's been a while, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Early 2012.
We were all smart. We left Cleveland, and then you were hanging around, and then like when we came back, you were gone. But you were alone for a little bit, right? You're still stuck in Cleveland. Only thing keeping Greg there was this blonde that worked 3 jobs. But
Is
Greg's.
it Greg?
Are you talking about
Because
Billy? Are you talking about Billy
prostitute
Morris?
three times-
I'm certainly talking about Billy Morris. we were definitely like worried about you for a little bit. You're like, I have this great friend, and he's so busy, but I try to sneak in. Like he's like odd hours where I can just catch him and just spend some quality time with my good friend here. You're like, he owns a cafe, recording studio, and I just like we'll just go back right into by the grill and just hang out until someone orders a burger so I can hang out with my buddy. It was getting a little creepy. It was like late at night. And we were all worried that Billy was taking advantage of you, but we didn't really like, you were basically throwing yourself at him. And we're all like, it's the only blonde
The only blonde that'll give me any attention.
that'll ever speak to Greg nicely. Just let him have this. Now he's like the father of the Hanson triplets or something, right?
Yeah.
He's so mean. To me, when I recorded The Flash, I remember he said I was too nerdy to rock out. My hair was too short, and he didn't like my khakis.
Someone sounds a little bitter.
yeah, he's here.
Drive 9 hours and talk shit about Greg. Fuck that.
I mean, I've had some rough times. I mean, pretty much starting in that storage unit when I thought it was a recording studio. All right, you guys. Actually, I test drove this truck on you guys the other day, but who here has also seen Greg stand up?
Woo!
You saw it?
Yeah, he showed it to me this afternoon.
Oh, nice,
I wrote
nice,
the
nice.
first joke.
You wrote the first joke?
Yeah, I was like, I wrote that joke. Oh no, it just bombed.
You know I really want to talk about the last one, right?
Which was that?
With that strange sexual left turn.
Oh, the Star Wars one. Yes.
Oh, yeah. So you all watch Star Wars because you have to...
Right.
do your very in-depth podcast.
And form very strong opinions of it because we're not having sex.
Wow.
Wait, the two of you.
Well, as someone who's seen it stand up, you saw him make the outlandish inference that if you're watching Star Wars, you are also receiving a blowjob. They go hand in hand. It seemed unquestionable. Guys, I haven't even got to the part yet where I want to talk about how detached from reality Greg is.
I'm leaving.
You are exactly where you belong.
Oh, Lisa, you're the only vegetarian I know with meat sweats.
I did the French fries. Bagels got me yesterday.
You're still talking about Bojangles, which it was in Kentucky accurately like 2 hours ago.
Wait, 2.5. We just got here 2 hours ago.
What do you think we were in Nashville without talking crap? That didn't happen.
Hey, my mom's calling.
Oh no!
Oh, put her on!
Come on.
Speaker!
Let her roast you.
No.
Greg's mom. Greg's mom. Greg's mom. Greg's mom.
You're the worst one of all.
No, she's a nice lady.
I really want to hear her voice now.
Oh, she's a nice
You're not missing anything.
lady. Don't disrespect Kath like this.
I like the fake smile you chose for tonight. It's very nice. We'll all be leaving in 5 minutes. You can cry then.
Oh yeah, this is just like our first stop of the night. We actually plan on having fun later. All right. We'll see.
know that's true.
All right.
No, we've got the shit we want to do later. Oh,
It's Rose secret.
good to see you.
All right. Fast forward 8 years later, after Greg's triumphant integration into Nashville, he's had a lot of accomplishments. Very accomplished. He is a husband, father, band leader, vocalist, songwriter, frontman, composer, producer, podcaster, author, voice actor, bassist.
So condescending.
And Facebook activist.
Villain bassist.
Facebook activist.
But the most important thing that he is that I left out, and Greg's probably spent maybe 50% of the time that we've been on the phone with each other since him moving here almost a decade ago, is how Greg is literally the Batman of Nashville. Have any of you guys heard these stories?
Some of them.
Yeah,
I've also seen the Batman building, so that is a high bar for him.
I know. And he's up there on the top, patrolling. He's always looking out for his fellow Nashvillians, or however you guys identify. How do you guys identify?
Nashvillians is fine.
I mean, it's like, it's a new decade, right? Where, like, I kind of feel like in the previous decade,
We call ourselves Nash Vegans.
we were, oh, there you
It's
go.
Nash Vegas.
Yeah. I feel like the last decade, I feel like the last decade is more like, trying to stay gender neutral, or we're not going to talk about gender. I feel like the 2020s is going to be a little interesting here.
We're called Nash them. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that's the old school. I think now, like, instead of taking the genders,
Masters.
you're going to, everyone's just gonna get as much gender as they possibly can get. Be like, I'm like 20% woman, 45% man. The rest, all just Baby Yoda, baby. So you guys can identify however you want. Anyway, that was not written down. That's horrible. But anyways, back to Greg saving countless lives. I do question his touch with reality when I hear some of these stories. But the part I really do believe that is just like Batman is that nobody asked for it. Complete vigilante style. Greg's helping you. Probably some people see that as a menace to society, but we all know he's a real hero. And I'll leave it at that. So happy birthday, Greg.
Fuck Greg Troyan!
Thank you, Devo. That leaves Jace and or Julia left. Otherwise, I think Greg is allowed to get up and do his rebuttals. And I don't think he's going to refrain from making fun of you two, so you should probably get your shots in while you have a chance.
Yeah, I'll, you want to introduce me? Or?
Yeah, Jace, you can do it?
Yeah.
All right, next up is Jace McLean from Nuclear Bubble Wrap. Wait, hold on, I'm also going to get a drink.
Yeah, just hold on.
Did you prepare?
Lord knows I wouldn't
Just
wanna-
now.
Okay.
Marty.
We knew for sure we were coming to Nashville, but we did not know if we were going to roast him.
I wrote down some notes on my notes app. Okay, so it's not really like in my nature to say mean things to my friends. So this is gonna be weird for me.
Do it.
But I'm gonna try my best, and we're gonna get through it.
Just don't look at him. Just don't look at him. Pretend he's not here.
Yeah.
Just
So
like the conversations you have when I'm not around. Just like.
I love how he looks off into the distance like, you've done this before.
I don't recall. Maybe. So my first memory of Greg is I kind of knew about you through a roommate of Julia's that Julia used to have. Yeah. The first time that I ever like heard of lipstick or anything was her roommate Ashton, and my first memory is understanding that apparently you thought that Julia was a lesbian. So the next time, so like the time that I saw you after learning this, it was with great pleasure that I introduced Julia as my girlfriend to you.
We're only half right, Greg.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but it turned out you were half right because she's bisexual.
Boom, roasted.
My roommate lied to you with
Air horn.
funny.
Air horn, right there.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You lazy bitch.
Greg,
What
edit
the
this
fuck?
closer.
So your favorite movie is Frozen. Frozen like
Frozen 2.
Frozen 2 is your favorite? Is better
No,
than
no,
the first
no.
one?
Come on, I'm not a savage.
Yeah. So Frozen's your favorite movie, just like your music career, where Snake Vomit is the only band to consistently get shows.
That's true.
I remember when Lipstick 2 came out, and it was getting some negative reviews, even from the publication that you had written for, right? and you were kind of talking about how like the CDs weren't moving or whatever, and then I found out. Then I went onto one of my favorite evil backdoor private torrent sites, and I found that Lipstick 2 had been pirated by like 40 people on there.
Ouch. That hurts. 40?
Yeah. It was like something like 40 snatches.
Only
on it.
40?
Yeah.
That's the meanest feedback we've ever gotten on that album.
That's the most snatches Greg's ever gotten.
I was just like, No
Now-
one is shocked.
Now, fortunately, I sometimes am able to get Greg to be a fill-in bassist for my band Nuclear Bubble Wrap when Steve is not available to play shows. But every time we do this, Greg picks the set list because he never wants to play any songs that have more than 3 notes in them. He really likes playing Sexy Silk because there's literally only 3 notes in it.
You know there are more notes in those bass lines, right, Greg?
Those aren't necessary.
You know I'm a villain and I don't care, right?
Yeah, I do.
You want to play right? Show up, Steve.
Look, I'm gonna hang out with a girl.
Boo.
Got priorities. She's Canadian, you've never met her, it's fine.
The lie detector says that is
I really wanted to think of a joke about how Greg is like Christian and stuff, but I just can't think of one. Julia, do you have one? You're like the other atheist.
Being Christian is a joke.
Air horn, do it.
Hold on.
You love Jesus.
We all have the jokes tonight.
I got extended air horn.
All right. Well,
Wait, can we go back? Can you like elaborate, like comparing Greg to like Catholic priests?
I thought about making like a priest rape joke, but that was probably going too far.
Dude, I went straight
I
for the
know
rape
you did.
joke. I wanted to open the door as wide as possible for
Greg is very
everyone.
short, so he's really their type. But those sideburns, they're just not into it. He's asked. He goes there, and they're like, no, you got to pay me $8.37. All right. Well, now that we've all said terrible and mean things about Greg, and he's barely even crying, I guess let me just lower this mic a lot, and then Greg can come up here and give his rebuttals.
Fuck Greg Troyan!
Fuck Greg Troyan!
Fuck him!
I want to thank all of you for coming, all 3 of you. Thanks for showing up. I don't know what's sadder, only like 3 people showing up or the 3 people who drove 9 hours for this.
Oh man, it was not for this.
Like, I'm gonna pick up some bachelorettes. Woo!
I did come for this. And boy, do I feel stupid.
I guess I'll just go around the room. Julia, I don't really have anything to say. You didn't roast me. You were very nice. I think your roommate told me you were a lesbian, and I did not care.
She was weird.
Yeah, it was like a non-thing for me. Like, okay, that affects me in no way. So
She said the Christian thing.
I did mock you for that.
I mean, look, it's really stupid. Like, oh yeah, this book that was from like 2,000 years ago totally has not been corrupted by politics. Yeah.
See, we didn't even make a Christian joke. A Christian can make it.
Oh yeah.
Let's see, Jace. What can I say about Jace? There's so much I can say.
Is the only guy shorter than you?
He is the only guy here who's shorter than me. Jace did a really bad job on selling me on how great mushrooms are.
I don't remember that.
Probably all the mushrooms.
Yeah, the mushrooms are probably why you don't remember. Jace, to me, is an inspiration in that he showed me that being internet famous does not mean anyone gives a shit about your band. So thank you, Jace, for inspiring me that way. Steve Huntel, a man whose balls I've seen more times than I care to count.
More than your wives.
We all have.
She has balls.
There's a lot of layers.
Yeah, there is.
But Steve Huntel is one of the few people who makes me feel good about the money I make at my job. So So thank you for that, Steve. I've always got you to look to. I'm like, man, I'm not making enough money, but I'm making more than Steve. Elisa, you didn't really say anything about me. You just said we went on a date at homecoming. I don't remember that. Saving
Alright.
Steve Smith saving you for last, buddy.
Yeah. Wait, hold on.
Greg, you fucking savage.
Okay, but it still costs $8.37.
Oh!
There are pictures on the Kensett High School website, I'm sure. This is like old pedophile. Took some photos of all of us and put them on the internet.
Just get getting less funny and darker as you kept talking.
There are pictures they're taken by the pedophile, put on the internet.
We should have skipped funny a long time ago.
I drove 9 hours to get roasted by Greg Troyan. I feel like a fucking idiot.
It was only like 8 seconds too.
You're right. That's as long as I can last, let's be honest. Speaking of people who can't last long, Debo.
How do you know?
8:37.
Yeah, 8:37. That time I sucked you off. You barely lasted 3 seconds. But that's why I gave you that discount for $5 because it was so short.
What's the takeaway of this?
That
You
I'm,
actually blew me?
yes. That I'm great with blowjobs and you just can't survive my sweet dick sucking skills.
I cannot share this with my friends.
Devo does have the one thing I want to rebut. I was only a vigilante for one day. I don't do that on the reg. It was one time and it was fucking weird. But you're right, the yellow jacket thing was really embarrassing. And yes, I own up to that. That was a very terrible, terrible fashion choice. Because I thought I was like the Beatles and Sgt. Pepper's with my fanciful jacket, but it was a yellow winter jacket. I looked like a fucking idiot.
That it has nothing to do with your Beatles period, because a year later you actually did cut your hair into a bowl cut.
Right, I got better at it. I got much better at it.
And you did get a full, like, bedazzled suit that you wore, like, every day to school.
I got better at it.
And everyone's like, Greg, what are you doing this special event? And you're like, I like the Beatles.
Teenage Greg sounds so drunk.
I like the Beatles. Shut up.
Well, don't let me get into senior year when he liked Meatloaf.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jim Steinman is the greatest American songwriter, maybe the greatest songwriter in the world.
Yes, that's me. So
I'm not
I
walking
wanna-
away from you guys. I'm walking away from this set.
right, that's fair. I want to talk a little bit about Devo and his music career. Formerly of the bands Titans in Time, a band that was not able to get social media traction despite the hashtag Tit Tuesday. Still not able to get people to give a shit about his band. So, bravo for that.
There are no boobs when people click on it.
No, there were 4 boobs.
Poor boobs.
But I really appreciate Devo playing like a really douchey bro metal and playing his bass super high, looking like Steve Urkel, implying things about how low his penis hangs. Very, very beautiful stuff.
I play so high so I can actually reach notes.
That's fair.
I know notes is not something that you're very familiar with, but there are more than 3 of them.
No. I use notes for every show because I don't memorize songs.
The Battle of Nashville.
And Steve. I mean, I could make jokes about Steve, but his appearance does enough for that.
Sorry, Cleveland and Steve are just like leaned into the room while like menacingly putting on chapstick. What was that about? And he disappeared.
That's like his move.
It's like the shittiest cryptid.
He's now in the rafters of your house forever.
Okay, well, like, I don't know. While you're up there, kick some opossums out, I guess.
Anyway, we're talking about how good I look.
All right.
Specifically, that duct tape on your shirt.
It's to cover up the word pimps. It's rude.
Respect.
Fucking
Yes,
it ain't easy, but it sure is fun.
Steve, a man who has written multiple songs about prostitution, cover up the word pimps on his shirt. Honestly, I make fun of Steve enough all the time. I don't really feel the need to do it here. Listen to other episodes of the podcast.
Well, like, yeah, all your best jokes. Like, tell them now. I've heard them, so I'm going to take a bit of a nap.
All right.
Wake me when you finished or said something new.
No, I'm good. Turns out all of you are bad at roasting, because in traditional roast fashion, you're supposed to say something nice about the person after you roast them. But I'm gonna say nice things about all of you now, since I actually know how to roast people.
Yeah.
Devo, I've known you for many, many years. For a number of years, I don't think we actually got along or liked each other, and we like had the same circle of friends but didn't hang out. And I do regret that to a degree, because you're one of my closest friends. I love you dearly. You mean the world to me, and I'm glad that I'm able to keep you from dying with those long phone calls.
Oh.
I'm also glad to be alive. What a great day to be alive.
And also, I did call you often before you did your travel job, so I just called you because I loved you.
That's true.
Oh.
That's sweet.
Steve Smith, you have been with me through some very tough times. You hosted this party because I wouldn't be able to throw this at my own house. But you've just consistently been there for me, and I appreciate it, and I don't know why you still stick it out with me.
As I said in my set, I'm very gullible.
Well, I appreciate your foolish gullibility, which is probably why we're both still Christian, so...
I've blasphemed enough in this podcast. No comment.
Elisa, you know what?
The best date he ever forgot.
The best date I ever forgot.
Right.
And you know, I've forgotten some dates. Like, you know, when I blocked out the memory of being raped as a child, like I forgot that date. So you were better than me being raped. So you have that going for you. But sincerely,
Why do you call that a date?
Because it's a little bit funnier.
it's easier to make a joke about it.
I'm so sad. Imagine you like preparing for your date.
It wasn't really a date. It was just for the. Anyway, moving.
Anyways, let's go on.
Nice. Oh, what the fuck?
It started off as a processing drama through humor thing, and then
switch
you're like, hold on, let's go.
And then it became you're better than child.
For the listeners on the internet,
Move to the hate seat.
For
Off
the-
the love seat to the hate seat.
for the internet people listening to this, all two of you.
Thanks, Patrick.
Yeah, thanks, Patrick. But for all two of you listening to this roast podcast, yeah, I make jokes about rape because that's how I deal with the pain. And if you don't like it, I mean, I don't know why you shaming me for doing things my way. Anyway, back to Elisa. Not only are you a great friend to me, you've also been an incredible friend to my sister. You've just been a big supporter of the two of us, and I appreciate it so much, and I am so honored that you made the trip here. So thank you, and I love you.
I love you too, Greg. I love GT. Thank you.
Steve Heintel, the Cleveland Stever.
Cleveland Stever.
The thing I love most about you is your beautiful, beautiful cock. It's tremendous.
Spread the word, baby. Please.
It's just
Ladies in Nashville, available one night only.
It is a veiny, glorious bastard. You know, really, the entire movie is super bad. They should have just taken pictures of your cock and modeled all the cocks in the movie after yours. Just truly a tremendous, tremendous penis.
This is the banana one.
I remember you. I remember
Pass for a high school cock.
I remember you seductively whispering into my ear in high school drama club, sneaking up behind me, saying, "If you were my little pony, I'd still fuck the shit out of you.
That's how he talks.
And I'll never forget that till the day I die. But
your tombstone.
on my tombstone. But sincerely, you have been an amazing friend to me. You've gotten me out of some jams. You've been there for me and shown support, and I just appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. You have a good soul, a good spirit, and I know that all the jokes you made are out of love. Some of them are probably some deep-seated resentment for that one time you drove to pick me up, and then I'm like, I don't need a ride.
But you still got in my car.
I still got in your car and sucked you off. It was. I give the best blowjobs in town.
It was $10 back then. It was Cleveland.
Right. But there's more.
Props to the working man.
But there's more competition down here, so that's why I had to lower my prices. You know.
Don't be nice to Steve.
Natural just.
He obviously needs to keep his money.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, I think that's it for this roast. So, thanks for showing up.
Yay!
Yay!
Won't make that mistake again.
And all my dreams are dead. Bye.
This is like actually a lot funnier than I thought. This goes might be awkward.
Oh, sorry.
Wait so that I can just go for it.
All right.
I did say
Greg, you're a beautiful man who tries hard and makes the world a better place.
No, I don't. Okay.
Is this still rolling?
I just started it again. It's rolling.
Okay.
Everybody just shout nice
you
things.
play bass. That's nice.
Isn't it? No. Jace, you're one of the few individuals who thinks I'm cool. You're crazy for that, but I love you. But you have been an amazing friend for me through the years. Like, always someone who is there for me and has my back, and I just appreciate from the bottom of my heart. And I am honored that I am good enough to be Steve's understudy in your band. I'm good enough when, like, you have no other options. You go to me, so thanks. Julia's in the restroom right now, but I'll say nice things about her while she's not around.
Fuck Greg Troyan!
Yeah! Julia,
Yes.
thank you for being a reliable, true friend. You just have a tremendous heart, and I'm blessed to have you in my life.
Thank you.
Okay, I've said nice things about all the people. So I'm done.
Actually, we should just leave.
I kind of want to do some sound bites for him. Elisa, I need your help.
What do you mean to like get some?
Yeah, I just want to do some
things that
sound
you can
bites.
put
Yeah,
in
you
the
can
songs?
edit them anywhere. Which one makes this tilt? Is it this one?
I have no clue. It's not my music stand.
How'd it get here?
It's a bandmate left here. I got a lot of shit that people have left in my house.
Elisa, I need you. Can you come up here?
Oh.
Do that thing you were doing earlier where you're like, not my front
A
butt.
little bit more at you. Yeah.
Let's see what's pinching it.
All right, here's how the sound bite is gonna go. I'm gonna go, here you go, you little bitch, and I'm gonna go like that, and you go, thank you, sir. All right, that's gonna be a great sound bite for this roast.
Why?
All right, come here.
Okay.
Here you go, you little bitch.
Thank you, sir.
All right, that's what we need you for. Wait,
You
one more
making up for that
time.
shit?
One more time. Here you go, you dumb bitch.
Thank you, sir.
Are you doing jazz snaps?
Bullshit. I'm trying to think of some more good ones. Fuck my ass. Son of a bitch.
There we go, we have new drops.
Get your hand out of there.
But it belongs to me. What else you got? Keep giving me lines and I'll finish them. Or I can give you some.
Is this thing on?
Only when you open it.
What the fuck is this?
I have to sort these into categories. It makes sense.
Too deep.
Yo, girl, fill up my cup.
What the fuck?
You have to say something.
Muzzle tub.
Alright, thank you for wasting that. Wait, come back. You're not done.
No. I don't want to get lost in the burlap over here.
Put some cheese on it.
What do I say to that?
Put some cheese on that. Thank you, sir. Alright, this isn't
Those
working
sound
out,
like
Lisa. Go sit down.
Which way should I go? This way?
Whichever way you
Show
want
my
to.
butt in Greg's face.
We're gonna do.
Won't be the first time. Oh!
This is Steve. Chewing cheap pizza.
Do I need to be Alyssa's replacement here?
Yeah. We'll say some things.
Please replace me.
Stop chewing first.
Holy shit!
The best kind. Ugh.
Ooh.
Ugh.
Greg.
Troyan. Hot takes.
Tits out.
Where else would they be?
Cut my balls.
To pieces. This is my last resort. Holy Nikes! That's a good reference in 2020 something.
Bend me over, cause I'm full of.
Many things, many exciting things you'll only find out after bending me over because I'm full of shit!
Weirdest.
Good. Greg Troyan, the only guy to ever successfully.
837.
Yeah.
That was an inside joke. You should have listened to that other episode that you missed.
Discount.
No one listens.
Discount GT, giving the runaround.
Greg Troyan, only worth.
We'll negotiate.
I think this is enough sound bites.
It's just
Go fuck you, Elisa Roncalli.
I got nothing to add to that. That's perfect. That's in and of itself.
Here we go. Fuck Elisa.
Rude. It's all chewing noises.
Yeah, that's funny.
I have a gross sex category of drops, so just all these chewing sounds are going in that.
I'm so not happy. Just put those after all my jokes. It's true. There we go. You got all the sound bites you needed.
My last roommate turned vegan while he lives here, and so he just set the tuna on the fridge. Do you want some tuna?
Why is he so buff?
Turn vegan. That should be the title of this podcast.